Hey everybody, welcome to Bearcat Insider. This is assistant coach Travis Marsh, and I'm sitting here with Pilot Point's favorite son, Chance Kirby. And it is the Bushland post-game show. Sorry, all the games are kind of running together.
That's good. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, so here we are. Live to play another day.
That's true.
So, Chance, how you feel?
I feel pretty good.
Good.
Just before we talk about the Bearcats, we recorded our 50th podcast, our last podcast.
We did.
And we broke 4,000 downloads.
And our YouTube channel went over 35,000.
We did.
So we're rocking and rolling.
And we wouldn't be able to do any of it if it wasn't for the Bearcats. Wouldn't be as popular of a channel.
And our wonderful sponsors.
That's true. Way to get that in there.
Yeah. Later on in the show, we'll go over who our sponsors are.
Let's do that.
Okay. So, man, Bearcats kind of balled out a little bit on Friday night.
They did.
Our second consecutive week of being the underdog, which we'll get into it later. I think we're going to start our third consecutive week of being the underdog.
We've accepted the role.
But, we played well. The kids played well. Man, after that first drive that Bushland had, I didn't know.
Before we even get into the game, I want to talk to you about before the game started.
Okay.
I get out of the car, and Jim Ned is up 16-0.
Yes.
I don't look at my phone again, and I stop, and I see you, and I said, have you looked at the score? And you're like, yes. And I said, is this a well-kept secret? And you say, what are you talking about? They're tied. So in the time I got to my car to you, it's 16-16.
Yep.
So then I didn't see you after that. But I do want to ask you about the game. That's a big game. It was a big game for both teams playing in our game. Is that information you try to protect from the kids? Or is that something that you make them aware, hey, Brock just got beat, let's take care of business? Because I can make an argument for both situations could be a problem.
I think you just kind of let it ride.
Okay.
And, if you try to be hush-hush about it and then the word, quote-unquote, leaks out.
There's always that guy at
then
the run-through line. Hey.
Then it makes you look like, well, why are you trying to protect that from us? Like, what do you mean? So I think you just let it ride. And, I had a couple kids say, oh, Coach, did you hear about the Brock game? I said, oh, no, man, what happened? Oh, they lost. Oh, well, man, okay, cool. And then you just don't make that big a deal about it because you want them to it doesn't matter what Brock or Jim Ned did if we don't take care of business.
It spread through the bleachers like wildfire on both sides.
Way
worse than the Rona.
No, face masks don't stop information.
That's right. They don't stop Brock news.
Yeah. But, gosh, I had 7 texts before kickoff. Just...
Do they not know what you do for a living?
Well, thank God for an Apple Watch. I could...
Yeah.
Sponsorship's available, by the way. Apple Watch.
Call us.
Yeah. And, so we knew well where. But it's just, you let it ride. You don't want that to be the kids' focus. Obviously, you want them to focus on the task at hand. But at the same time, you don't want to jump down their throat for being curious because at least they're thinking big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we'll go back to where I interrupted.
Yeah, man.
Didn't start out well.
Now, that first Bushland drive, I thought we were in for a long night.
They looked impressive.
They did for that drive.
Yes.
And, Freeze did his thing. What we're used to Coach Freeze doing. He made the adjustments, and Coach Peacock had him dialed up. And so it went well for the Bearcats.
Yeah, our first drive, we just were shooting ourselves in the foot, and I know I'm going to talk about your favorite topic. Referees seem to be a talking point on both sides of the field.
I think they had to get warmed up.
That's what Ryan thought in the game, that they were loosening their arms up.
Yeah.
And then they got sore
and
quit throwing them.
Yeah, then and the gentleman that was on our sideline, he was very stoic, which trumps me.
That's the one you can't get over?
Yeah. Well, no, that's the one that just they make me give up.
Yeah.
Because they're unfazed. If I get a reaction out of him, it's over.
Yeah.
He was not. He
wasn't having it?
He was as constant as the Northern Star.
Yeah.
He was like an oak.
Well, we shot ourselves in the foot in that first drive, and then I was still like Wow, this is going to be a good one.
I was thinking that it was going to be 1 minute into the game and we were going to be down 14-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the feeling. That initial thing was like, holy monkey, they're good. And then everything settled down for the Bearcats. And so I tell you what, let's hear a quick word from our sponsors. Let's get into these touchdowns.
Since 1983, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency has been covering the insurance needs of Pilot Point. Regardless of what that need may be, they have you covered, offering homeowners, auto, life, farm and ranch, and commercial. Give them a call at 940-686-2692. That's Germania Insurance, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency, located just north of the town square at 211 Scott Lane in Pilot Point, Texas. Scott Walker Insurance Agency, always there to help.
We want to wish our varsity cheerleader, Abby, a great senior year. Love Mom, Dad, and Michael.
Hi, I'm Greg Pelzel. Here at Pelzel Printing, we do custom embroidery, custom screen printing, and promotional product. You can reach Greg Pelzel at 940-453-5443. Go Bearcats.
All right, so the first score of the game was obviously by Bushland. Okay, it was a pass to the right side, and it looked as though we were in a target-rich environment, and the ball somehow magically lands in the Bushland guys' hands. Not good.
Anything you're willing to discuss on air? Because I saw three of our guys standing in the end zone look like they were comparing notes as to who, what, when, and where, all looking at each other.
I was wondering how much they paid for the ticket to watch the game.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what it looked like. They were spectating. They were the best seat in the house to watch this guy catch the football. And that's whenever I was like, okay, this is going to be a game. It's going to be like this tonight. And then that's the first score of the game. And then we punt the ball back to him, and then I do believe Avery gets an interception on their second possession, if I remember right. It's all kind of running together.
I think that's correct, and then that was the first instance where their crowd really started hating the San Antonio chapter.
Yeah. San Antonio chapter's awesome.
And
those guys, they were on it that play. The Eagle Eyes, they did really, really good. I was really impressed with their ability on that play. No, but we get the ball back, and then I do believe we go down and score.
We do not.
Okay. I don't believe that anymore.
They force us to a 3-and-out, and we do the play of we're going to punt to you, you drop it, and we're going to pick it back up.
That's right. Thank you, Aaron Stripmatter.
Yes.
Good hustle down there on his part to go get the ball back for us.
Then, even though they only touched it for a brief moment, it is technically our third possession that we scored.
And we put it in.
Ish.
It's going to be a handoff to Ish Harris, and Ish Harris breaks the tackle, spins out. He's going to take this one for a touchdown, but Pelzel Printing touchdown, 22 yards from Ish Harris.
And, Ish, of course, we'll talk stats later, but Ish put together a well of a game.
He did.
He picked a really good time to go off. But that's the way the pendulum swings, is you have a max game. And if anybody could see what I'm doing right now, they'd see that I'm using my pen like a pendulum.
And it makes perfect sense. I can visualize it.
You have a max game, and then you have an Ish game. And then you have a max game, and then you have an Ish game.
Is it an instant reaction from the next opponent? They're like, oh, my gosh, Max just had this crazy game. We better figure out a way to stop him.
Got to stop 12. 12 will get us beat if we don't stop 12. And then the inverse, 21. Come on, 21. It's your time to shine.
Because he went from 68 yards to what he had this week, over 200. So,
233.
Of course, Max didn't have quite the game that he had the week before, but it wasn't that far off. Not trying to get into statistics, but it seemed to me like they decided Max wasn't going to be the one to beat them.
Except they still couldn't
until
catch
he
him.
did.
Yeah. And we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. On
his first long touchdown run, number 6 had an angle. Number 6 is 10 yards ahead of him on the field. They
always have an angle.
He was 10 yards ahead of him on the field, and then he takes off to go running, and then he's like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to save my energy for other things, I guess. I don't know what.
Speaking of energy, that's another thing I noticed, and John has noticed and pointed out in the games. The last two teams we've played have been super, super, super high energy in the beginning. I'm talking jumping up and down and just full-blown double Red Bull.
Yeah.
We're ready.
You'll see it 3 games in a row.
We're not that way. To me, speaking of stoic, we seem very even keel.
Well, the identity of the team follows the leadership that they are given.
Well, there you go.
So, look no further than Coach Danny David.
The next chest bump I see him do will be his first.
It's true.
The next time I see him jump off the ground will be the first.
Well, and here's the thing is it's not that he's not excited. He is excited, but he just it's methodical, it's stoic, that's awesome. Let's line up and let's do it again. And then we'll be happy whenever we're singing Blood on the Helmet and we're on the bus and, he might smile. But that's just the leadership that he gives. It's even-keeled. We're never going to get too high. We're never going to get too low.
I see an advantage to that.
Well, there is, because it helps you weather the storm. There's no freak out. Okay.
Well, because if you start super high, like the past 2 weeks, it's hard to maintain that in the second half when it's looking like it has for the other team the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The kids will see the counter reaction, which isn't good.
Well, I mean,
It's
you're
what
at
happened, Coach? You're not chest bumping me anymore at the hash marks when I'm coming off the field.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that, but that's because I get tired.
But you're everyone's favorite assistant. See, you're not leading.
No, I'm just a dude.
You're just a dude.
I'm not the dude.
I'm
just a dude.
We go back last week, aren't even certain that you're allowed to participate in any coaching activities at all.
I get banished. They give me the dunce hat and send me 30 yards away.
Yeah.
No, but that's a direct reflection of Coach David, and that's one of the things that I admire about him, is that when we go down 7-0 and they make it look easy, there's no knee-jerk reaction. It's just, okay, now we just need to answer. And then even when we don't answer, okay, now we need to stop. Well, we get the stop. Okay, well, now we need to go score. It's always, you accept the result and it is what it is. Let's focus on the next task at hand. And
the other question I have about Bushland, and I think you're the perfect guy to ask because I know you're a fan of this, and it's weird that I'm talking about this guy. It's just weird how the whole world's lining up. With the exception of Art Browell's Baylor offense, I've never seen where I've thought, and granted I'm a football idiot, where that high of a tempo is an advantage.
If you're really good and you're playing a lesser opponent, it definitely is, because you've got them on the ropes.
The whole time?
You've got them on the ropes the whole time. They never get to adjust. They never get to sub. They never get to. So if my talent is better than your talent, now my talent's at full throttle all the time, and your kids of lesser talent don't even get to rest now. You can't even coach them up because it's breakneck all the time. Castleberry benefited from it against us. Their up tempo is what had them come roaring back into the game. And so, it has its advantages, but whenever you're not successful is whenever it's a huge disadvantage. Because
now that I didn't think, yes, they were, but you never really think they're out of it. In the second half, if they were option team, you would have thought, hey, like when we played Wall last year, the second half you really felt like they can do their best and the time isn't going to allow them to get it done.
Whenever Wall started dropping back to pass in 2019, we knew we had won the game.
And that's where I'm getting at with this team, with Bushland. You felt like if they could get the ship righted, they technically were still in it no matter what the score was, as quickly as they could strike.
Yeah, no, and that's, I guess that's one of the advantages of it, is you're never out of it.
Yeah.
At that speed, because if you can score quickly, then you're
and
on.
That goes back to Castleberry. That's how they did it.
No, they did. And it worked for Bushland for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So, 11, 12, until that night, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you can't go wholesale against it. That's for sure.
All right. Well, we got off track from the first touchdown. So
and then Ish scored. We got through Ish scoring.
Yes.
So we're 7-7.
We are. We are 7-7.
So I hope you have the next one because I'm done. It all runs together. I'm already.
I do have it.
I'm already Jim Ned.
Yeah. Well, that's good, and it is a short week.
It is.
We came into this saying we're going to do this quickly because it's really a busy week for us because we've lost today. And here we are, going to drag it out. So it's still the first quarter. Second touchdown is Ish, 32-yard TD run.
10, handoff to Ish Harris. He's going to have some space.
Oh, he's got some
jump
room.
cut, breaks a
Let's go, Ish.
20. This will be an Ish Harris night. Touchdown, Ish Harris. Pelzel printing touchdown. 33 yards from Ish Harris for the Bearcats to take the lead.
Oh, he's having a day already.
Again, we say it all the time. That's the offensive line. He had plenty of room to run, and then he got to the second level and did Ish things. But, Colin Haynes, Jacob Scott, Caleb Holloway, Dak Morgan, and Aaron Stripmatter blocked their tails up front, all night. They did a fantastic job. We give those guys a ton of recognition on the show, and it's deserving because they do a great job.
Yeah, and that one that particular touchdown Ish did another one of his signature jump cuts, and straight up the middle on that one, and you could tell at that point it was going to be an Ish kind of day.
Yeah, well, I thought that he was kind of plodding around for a little bit and that he wasn't running real hard. And then he had a run later in the game on their sideline where he just puts his shoulder down and obliterated someone.
I haven't seen Ish do that this year, what he did in this game, and I've pointed out a couple people this weekend. When he was in open field, it was almost like he was looking for another kid that he could run over.
I'm in. I love it.
Which is crazy. It's Derrick Henry-like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a path of least resistance, and then there was the path of speed bump, let's say, resistance, where, hey, instead of just going open and running, I think I can swerve a little way and run this guy over as I go into the end zone. It was just crazy. And then the stiff arm just...
Well, and if Ish is, he has fantastic vision. That's the first thing that separates Ish from regular Joe Blow running back is he has fantastic vision. He has good enough speed. He can hit the long ball, and that's fine. His ability to cut is fantastic. He has great balance. Since he is huge, his stiff arm, keeps people at bay. But the thing that Ish doesn't utilize all the time is the fact that if he decides to run behind his pads, that hurts. That keeps those safeties from wanting to come tackle you.
There's one. It's a run down our sidelines that Ish breaks away, and there's a kid that he flat out does not want to make the tackle. I mean, he's running beside Ish, and Ish is kind of holding his hand up, kind of feeling out where the kid's going to make his attack point so Ish can drive his helmet completely into the dirt, and the kid doesn't commit.
No, and if from my vantage point, which was behind Ish, and Ish had his hand out, and the kid was running behind him, for lack of a better way of saying it, like Frankenstein with his hands out.
Yeah.
And Ish keeps slapping his hands to keep the kid's hands off of him. The kid did not want to commit to actually making contact.
And kids, and you're more connected to kids than I am and their thoughts. This is a wild theory of mine that I know you love shooting down my theory, so here we go.
Okay, I'm in. I'm listening.
Is it as much that the kid, as the physical issues of tackling Ish come into play, but is it also that they don't want to be a highlight reel?
Well, I think that plays less of a part, but I think it's one of those things where in the world of social media, in the world of and one basketball is probably more looked at now as a big thing instead of just playing real basketball. Let's go to the park and break somebody's ankles and oohs and ahs and this and that. I think that does play a part of a kid saying, you know what, I'm not going to go in there and become a sideshow. So I'll just hang out right here, and instead of trying to make a tackle, I'll kind of let him run by me and see if I can latch on and be the human cape and just ride him to the ground.
Or slow him down enough till somebody else we can gang tackle him.
Let the compadres come help.
Yeah.
But no, I think it does play a part. So I'll halfway agree with one of your theories.
Man, it's a good day.
It is.
All right, moving on.
So touchdown number 3 for the Bearcats is Max Holler doing Max thing, 65-yard touchdown run.
Holler's on the run. Can he be tracked down? He cannot.
Sir.
Got back a little late from that commercial break. And Max Holler, 65 yards to the house.
And that's the one you were referencing earlier where the kid had the angle.
Yeah. And we make it all the time where, was that a touchdown play, this and that. It's almost to the point now whenever I get the word from Coach Peacock upstairs and I'd start my mime routine that I'm like, oh, man, if it's a Max call, this is probably a touchdown play.
You talk about the line, I want to point that out. The hole that he comes through on the right side you can't drive a truck through it. You can parallel park a truck in it.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, and that, again, Colin Haynes, Jacob Scott, Caleb Holloway, Dak Morgan, Aaron Stripmatter, and sometimes Aiden, and sometimes Cade Carter.
And sometimes Ish. I sent you the picture.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
There's a run, a called run, and that will be in the photo album of Max running one of his runs, and Ish is not blocking one guy. He's blocking 2 guys.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's when kids buy in and when they decide, you know what, I'm going to sell out and I'm going to be the best football player that I can be. All of a sudden you become less selfish. All of a sudden you start understanding the big picture, and Ish has got it. If I'll go block my tail off for Max, that's going to open up something for me later on. And so I guess it's an unselfish way of being selfish. You can benefit yourself by helping someone else. And it's really nice to see that Ish will go block. I've had backs in the past that have refused to go block. And Ish is growing into that role. He's still not perfect, but he's growing into it, and he's doing a heck of a job. And I'm sure Max appreciates it.
Moving on. You got the list.
Yeah, I do. So that made it 21-14 or 21-7. Then they score. I don't remember how they scored.
What quarter is it?
Second.
Okay.
So they're going right to left. I have no clue how they scored.
I think it's the one that it looked like
What's one of two?
We stopped chasing him. It was number 4, I believe, which was the second receiver in from the sidelines. And he ran down the hashes and was alone.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Okay.
But, it was a double move.
Okay.
It was a corner and then back to the post, and we were on skates.
Yeah.
And, again, at that point it was 21-7. 2-score game, you're feeling pretty good about it, and then all of a sudden they hit a big play. Well, you're thinking, oh man, are they beginning to wake up? Did they find something? And come to find out that we had a kid in the secondary that got a little hobbled throughout the course of the game, and you get stuck in that thing of where the kid tries to play through it and he wants to play through it, but his performance is suffering, and we just hadn't pulled the trigger on him yet. And so we eventually do, but they got him that time. So 21-14, second quarter. Max Holler, 56-yard touchdown run.
Takes a snap, good quarterback set, draw up the middle. 50, 40, he is just too fast. 20, to the Max again. Touchdown, Max Holler. Man, oh man, that's 56 yards there. Just comes back, sets up. That was a quarterback draw all the way, gets the defenders up, and the offensive line did a great job of coning them all to the outside, and then nobody between him and the end zone.
Wow. Here we go again. And it really is impressive just because of how fast Max is.
Say it every week. I don't think Bushland has any idea until he's running down the field. And then it's too late.
I almost picture Max laughing while he's running.
Not going to be that way next week because they're going to remember Max because he's the guy that chased down the for sure touchdown last year.
I've already had a phone call with a good friend, Coach Fanning, the head coach of Jim Ned, and he brought that up, that Max's speed is no surprise to him because their fastest kid on their team, he just walked him down like it was nothing last year.
And that's available on our YouTube channel if you want to go just revisit that awesome game we had with them last year.
It was a fantastic game.
Yeah, not the type by district game people are accustomed to.
No, it was a great game. But anyways, so that's Max doing Max things again, and then to finish out the second quarter with just under a minute left, Max punches it in with a 1 yard run.
Everybody's tight, no splits here. 4-point stances. Quarterback
There it is. Max.
No, you know Max Holler's coming, and you just can't stop it.
We go into the half up 35-14. Everything's feeling good. The folks at halftime was to finish and to not relax and to focus on the fact that their tempo, it allows them to get back into it. Their quarterback has a big arm, and so that was a concern. But for the most part, it was just pretty calm and pretty just like we talked about with even-keeled Coach David is.
It's awesome here at week 14. You finally got to where you tell me so I don't have to ask what happened at halftime.
Yeah, no, I know you're always curious.
Two things about the stadium before we go to the halftime commercial break. On the coin toss, was the sun a consideration? Did you guys consider that first quarter looking into the sun like Cowboy Stadium?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, nothing more, just yes. When I ask these questions, I'm hoping for.
No, we'll talk about it postseason.
Okay, what about the crosswind? Was that an issue? Max didn't seem to be as sharp as he has been in the passing game. Was the wind a factor?
I think so.
Okay.
I didn't directly ask him or talk to him about it or anything like that, but I do believe it was a small factor.
Okay.
I think Max was just excited to play football.
I understand.
I
was excited to be there.
Yeah, I think he just was excited, and I think that factored into his. Pass interference didn't help.
Yeah.
Uncalled pass interference, of course, but no, I think he was just a little bit off just because he was excited.
Well, let's go to a break, and then we'll come back for the second half.
Bearcat fans, one thing that I love about walking into the field house is looking at all the old pictures that you have from years past and being able to relive the history of those great teams and great players. And I love walking through with my sons and showing them a picture and saying, man, look at that guy, and telling them a story about a great play. And you can have the same opportunity to do that with your family by using Ashley Marsh Photography to capture your family's great memories. Seeing those pictures of your family will allow you to talk to your kids or your grandkids and tell great stories about things that you've done or things that you've seen or just funny memories that you might have. So if you ever want to document your family's history, please contact Ashley Marsh Photography. You can find her on Facebook, on Instagram using Ashley Marsh Photography, as well as her website, ashleymarshphotography.com.
Located in Pilot Point, Texas, the Chandler family has been making custom cabinets for over 40 years. As a team, Chandler Cabinets is committed to designing and building the perfect cabinets for you. They will make the process comfortable and stress-free by personally guaranteeing a superior product built on the standard of superior craftsmanship and immaculate customer satisfaction. From concept to completion, perfect form and function. Chandler Cabinets is an award-winning company with a reputation for consistent innovation at the highest level of design. You can find more information on Chandler Cabinets at chandlercabinets.net or on their Facebook page, Chandler Cabinets. Chandler Cabinets, 40 years of excellence.
Thank you to our sponsors for their generous support. And here we are. We're back for the second half. And second half starts off with a bang.
Slow down for a second.
Okay.
What? I love putting you in the mind of the other team.
Great.
But not. What are you telling your kids if you're Bushland? Did they come out? Did you notice early in the second half before we get to our scores?
No, you're good.
Obviously, it didn't work. Did they make adjustments? What?
No.
Okay.
And if they did, it wasn't very evident.
Okay.
There was nothing that we came out as an offensive staff and said, oh, no, they did this. I think if you're Bushland and you get in there, you're preaching, hey, they're getting the ball back. We have to get a stop. This is the most important drive of the game. And that is a dangerous sales pitch.
Yeah. Back to that overexcitement, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
well, it's a dangerous sales pitch if that's the most important drive of the game and then the Bearcats go and put one in the end zone, because then the most important drive of the game was just a failure. But I think that's what you have to say.
Yeah.
I think you're married to it at that point. That, man,
so you have to draw the line.
You have to draw the line because at this point it's 35-14, 3-possession game. If we go down and score, it becomes a 4-possession game with, we're on the downhill side of time now.
Yeah, but it's still an eternity in their world.
Well, it is, but at the same time,
you got to make a stop.
In the world of realism is, you're 4 possessions behind, which means that we still have to have the ball for 3 possessions without scoring and without bleeding clock, and you haven't stopped us yet. It's not looking real rosy if we get a score. So you circle that drive if you're the Bushland coach, I think, and you say, man, this is it. We have to get a stop. And then on the same side, we're saying, hey, man, this is the most important drive up yet, because if we go down there and score, strike up the band, it's over. Not that it's over, but gosh, we're in the driver's seat at that, even more than we already are.
Yeah.
You just made it insanely hard.
And how'd we score?
I was on a 15-yard-ish Harris touchdown run.
He good.
And he gone, according to John.
Exactly.
And so times 3.
Under center again, I formation. This is going to be a pitch out to Ish. Max Holler lead block.
Got some room.
Ish just followed Max. Hurdled the man at the 5.
Touchdown.
Ish Harrison for the Pelzel Printing touchdown.
But and that's just. I think this is the one. Like I said, they all run together, so I do apologize. Where I felt like he was bottled up a little bit, and then he kind of broke away up the right sideline and got in the end zone. And so, hats off to Ish, hats off to the offensive line, and there was some good blocking downfield by the receivers throughout the night. Anytime you have that kind of output, everybody's doing their job. And so that made it 42-14, and then we don't. Man, feels like an eternity. We don't score again until 9.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But we kept bleeding clock and we kept getting stops, and
we also started cycling in some white helmets.
Yeah, no, we did. Anytime you have an opportunity to get those kids in the game, it's awesome. And you hope that by giving them a taste of a third-round playoff game, that their next 12 months is going to be about what do I have to do to get back? What do I have to, we're going to lift in the morning. Okay, cool, I'm there. What do I have to do to get back? You hope to create that kind of excitement. And, for my position group, the spark plug's been Puga.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little freshman, but he plays with a ton of energy. He plays with a ton of heart. And it's nice to be able to put him in there and not experience a massive drop-off, but to think about how much this is going to speed up his developmental curve to be playing meaningful minutes all playoffs. It puts him so far ahead of whenever he has to become a varsity starter, whenever that is.
You always hear on TV, they talk about, let's get this change of pace back in there. As a lineman, is it frustrating to basically, when Puga comes in, have a change of pace defensive end that you have to block?
Well, he might be smaller, but there's very few that are quicker out of their stance than he is. Even though he's small, he's strong. And then he makes up for his inexperience with just an insane amount of hustle. And so, Troy does a great job, but having Puga allows us to do some different things with Troy that really benefit us as a football team. And then you have Aiden on the other side, and Aiden's kind of turned into a steady hand over there. He makes a ton of plays for us, and he's kind of a warhorse for us. And it's nice to put Puga on the other side. And, there was a stretch, I think, in the fourth quarter. Pretty sure it was the fourth quarter where they had a 3-and-out, and it was 3 straight sacks.
It was.
And that was 3 sub linemen and Aiden. It wasn't even this. It was 3 non-starters in Aiden. And how awesome is that? That you can apply that kind of pressure to their starters late in the game. And that was Eddie Gatton. I think Troy had a sack in there, and Puga had a sack, all in that same stretch.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome. And then the last score of the game goes to Mr. California TK Tyler Kovalson with an 85-yard touchdown run.
Tyler Kowalski takes the ball from the 17-yard line and goes 87 yards to the house.
I love the touchdown celebration. It just bounces off the end zone padding.
And so
I was entertained by that one.
the biggest concern came in the last 20 yards, which was just don't get hawked.
He looked back.
And I'm glad he did, because he needed to make it. But, it's a change of pace from Ish, and not in the sense of that he's any faster than Ish or anything like that. But when old TK has the ball, the hesitation moves and the jump cuts and all that's out the window. TK's just hitting the hole.
He's kind of a weird combination of Dorian and Ish.
He's
the middle ground for those two.
He is, and he it's nice to be able to put him in there, and now we know that he is apparently a home run hitter. But he runs hard, and that's what I love about him is he mixes it up in there. And then, if you do that enough times, all of a sudden the offensive line opens up a gaping hole. And then you're in the secondary, and you're thinking either, God, please somebody tackle me so that I don't have to run 85 yards. But he did it, man. He hit pay dirt, and it was awesome. He was excited, and everybody was so excited for him. That was he waited till playoff times to become the old touchdown machine.
Yeah, it's 2 touchdowns in 3 weeks now.
Yeah, and so that's exciting, and I'm more than happy for him. What do you say we take one last commercial break? Come back and let's wrap this thing up.
Pelzel Barbershop and Salon and Southern Junkies has been home of the Bearcats since 1973. Whether you are looking for a classic crew cut or the perfect game day outfit, we have you covered. We carry a few fan favorite brands including Hey Dude Shoes, Judy Blue Jeans, Z Supply Clothing, and Orleans Candle Company. Come check us out on the north side of the square in downtown Paula Point or online at www.southernjunkies.com, and that is junkies with a Z. And don't forget, go Bearcats!
There is no better source for local news than the Pilot Point Post-Signal. Pilot Point Post-Signal has been covering Pilot Point since 1878, providing award-winning, top-notch coverage of Pilot Point and the Pilot Point Bearcats. You can start your subscription today by going to postsignal.com and signing up for their special, which is 2 months free of the digital and print copy, or you can call their phone number at 940-686-2169. The Pilot Point Post-Signal, the best source for local news.
All right, so we're back from break. Thank you to those sponsors. What do you got for me to wrap this thing up?
Well, I've got some stats. You want to go over them?
Let's do it.
Let's start with passing. Not his most stellar week, but hey, it's all effective. Scoreboard's the only number that counts. Max was 7 of 18 for 65 yards. And then moving on to you got nothing to say about that?
No, we'll leave that one alone.
Okay. Rushing, as we said earlier, Ish Harris, 18 carries, 233 yards, and 3 TDs, longest run of 47.
That was the kind of games that, Ish has kind of earned a little bit of a moniker there on Twitter of Mr. November.
I would prefer Mr. December. That's who I want to see.
Well, I'm waiting on him to come out.
Yeah.
And we can't call him that yet because this will be the first December game. But
that's true.
I would like to. We can just call him Mr. Winter.
We also had another 100-yard rusher, Max Holler, 14 carries, 151 yards with the longest of 65, 3 TDs.
Max doing Max things. I mean,
how would I know you were going to say that?
It's like a broken record. And here's the greatest thing. I'm sorry. We're going to take a trip down a rabbit hole real quick. I was so thankful for this long trip to Vernon because Max got to watch Gladiator on the bus for the first time.
He had never seen it?
He had never seen Gladiator. And so afterwards, he was like, I get it. The Are You Not Entertained? And Why You Call Me Maximus? And he was like, that's an awesome movie. I was like, there you go, Max.
Gosh, I'm old. Had most of the kids not seen it?
I would say it was about 50-50.
Gotcha.
But Max was, I think he was happy.
He was entertained?
He was entertained.
Okay.
He's like, I almost fell asleep once, but then.
What? Where?
Well, it was because we kept losing signal.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't stream it.
Okay.
Anymore.
We had one guy just shy of 100 yards with only 2 carries, and that would be TK. Had 2 carries for 88 yards and an 85-yard TD run.
Well, we ran out of time, TK. That's it.
There's always the next game. Receiving. Leading receiver would be Big Play Jay. 3 catches for 30 yards. That's kind of mimicking the it's hard to get a lot when there's not that many completions.
Yeah, no, it is. But the thing is those were all really important completions, and normally they move the sticks. So thank you, Jay.
And sticking with Jay, leading tackler with, 9 solo tackles, 5 assists for a total of 14 is Jay.
And that puts him at almost 130 tackles for the year. And if you couple that with his 130 tackles from last year, old Big Play Jay has made almost over 250 tackles in 2 years. It's a lot.
Yeah, 130 and 130s, more than 250.
I'm good at math. I almost said close to 300, but I wasn't ready to call that out yet.
Rocking it.
Yes, thank you, Miss Watson and Mr. Dooley, and all of my other math teachers in high school.
Addressed earlier, we had 4 sacks.
We did.
I don't recall a 4-sack game this year. Maybe, but I don't recall it.
Yeah, no.
And then let's not leave out, we had Aaron Strittmatter, as you said earlier, with 1 fumble recovery. And then Mr. No-Fly Zone.
Self-named no-fly zone Avery Smith.
3 interceptions.
Not 1, not 2.
But 3.
But 3 interceptions.
And then Mr. 200-plus yards rushing. He also picked up 2 interceptions.
Yeah, well, he probably could have had 4, but
I'm confident we have not had a 5-interception game this year.
I think there is. You could make a case that could maybe be the most in a game in Bearcat history, because for most of Bearcat history, people didn't throw the ball 5 times.
I'm not as confident as you are about that.
I said maybe.
Yeah, I'm not even. Johnny Schindler, if the ball was in the air, he went and found it.
But how many times did they pass back then?
I'm going to say if they threw it 6 times, Johnny could have intercepted 5 of them.
All right, we'll ask Greg. Greg knows everything.
Yeah, or at least he'll make us think he does.
Yes. We'll ask Greg if he ever threw 5 interceptions in a game.
I don't doubt Greg ever threw it 5 times. That's one thing I don't think they wanted Greg to do, was throw the ball. They called in number 12 when they wanted the ball thrown.
No, but he could run a quarterback sneak.
And he could bleed block. If you don't believe him, ask him.
Yeah, he's probably the best guard we had.
But that's it. That's it for the statistic report.
Yeah, no, and, that's one of Avery's interceptions was in the end zone. It's always a good time to pick off a pass.
Yeah, because he was the only thing between the ball and the guy catching the touchdown.
Yeah. So, hats off to the no-fly zone.
Yeah.
And, I think the defensive ends had 3 of the sacks. Eddie Gatton was sack number 4, which is awesome. It's nice when you have pressure from the defensive line and you don't have to blitz the house to get to the quarterback.
It's always a good thing.
It's a good problem to have. Well, we're off to play another week.
We are.
And we're going to have Jim Ned in Tarleton. At Tarleton in Stephenville. That's probably what I want to do. At Tarleton in Stephenville, 7 p.m. on Thursday night, a little Thursday night football. Will not be a color rush game. Sorry, NFL fans. We are the home team. Tickets will be sold all online, all through Jim Ned's website. And so you can find the links on all the Pilot Point pages and social media. And you can always find the link on pilotpointbearcats.com.
Maybe by the time this cast comes out.
Well, that's why I'm looking directly at you saying, hey.
Short week's hard on the propaganda minister, but he's doing his best.
Well, he needs an intern.
Yeah. Applications
Spots
open.
available.
That's right.
And so really excited about that. Really excited to take on Jim Ned and see what the future holds. And as always, we want to thank our wonderful sponsors: be Ashley Marsh Photography, Dana Walker with Germania Insurance, Pelzel Printing, Southern Junkies, the Pilot Point Post Signal, and last but not least, Chandler Cabinets. Without the gracious support of those sponsors, we couldn't do this podcast. So, Bearcat fans, just like you support the Bearcats, go support local business. And as always, go Bearcats.